We were doing about 7 million a year, and then I helped them scale to just shy of 40 million.
What, in your opinion, differentiates a company doing $1 million in annual revenue to a company doing $40 million?
Marketing and sales. 75% of businesses fail in America.
So the key takeaways would be to
the greeting, setting the expectations. Of course, man, listen to podcasts like this. I had one guy who was closing at 75%. That's net after cancellations, meaning 75%.
What's your differentiator?
So you have better guarantees, longer guarantees, more thorough guarantees that cover more areas of the project.
Which marketing channel has given you the best ROI?
PPC and LSA. It was more about culture and character.
Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Yash Desai and welcome to the episode 4 of the HVAC Hotshots podcast. Today I'm really excited to have Michael Pompeo, the Chief Revenue Officer of CM Heating, the best HVAC company in Everett, Washington. Mike, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Before we dive in, how about you give us a quick rundown of your HVAC journey? How has it been? And I'm sure it's been quite a ride.
Yeah, it's been incredible and not what I expected it to be. I started in sales and marketing 15 years ago in different models, in different industries, selling software and doing marketing for startups, etc. But then eventually found my way into HVAC 6 years ago, and when I joined the company, we were doing about 7 million a year, and then I helped them scale to just shy of 40 million in 5-year period. That was a crazy journey, and funny enough, we just were purchased by a PE firm, which was expected and planned. And I recently stepped down because I am going to be I have a lot of people who were reaching out for consulting, and I thought that would be the next best move for me. So I'm now offering consulting to HVAC home service companies and working with clients there. But still hold an advisory role for marketing and sales for CM Heating until they get those spots filled all the way. But yeah.
Gotcha, makes sense. Congrats on your new venture, man. As someone running a smaller HVAC operation looking to grow, I have several questions today about scaling a business and growing it. And yeah, let's start with the one that I think you would be, you are having a really great experience of that. So let's start with that. What, in your opinion, differentiates a company doing $1 million or let's say below $10 million in annual revenue to a company doing $40 million in annual revenue? What do you think is the key to it, and what's the exact piece of stuff that's differentiating both of it?
Yeah, the first one I would say is they probably got a mentor. It's one thing to just get some kind of playbook out there or some kind of outline of how to develop a business, but I really don't. I think that's going to be the long and difficult path for folks. A lot of people are scared to get into a coaching agreement, because there's money on the line, and maybe you haven't had a coach in your life before. But I've for the last 25 years, I've had a mentor in my life in different areas, whether it was my nutritional development or my own spiritual development, business development. And I chose coaches who were able to serve me in that particular area, and it's never failed me, and it was worth every penny every time. And so I think if you're looking to play with the big kids, the big boys, big girls, you got to step up at some point and put some money on the line and get under the guidance of someone who knows what they're doing. And so I think a lot of people keep wanting to just do it the hard way. That's small money. You can figure it out the hard way, but the truth is, big money, big accomplishments come from getting yourself a great coach. There's always blind spots we have. Fear often interferes with our decisions, and if you don't mind me going off on it a second, one thing
sure.
that a mentor told me was, he said, have you ever noticed that Olympic medalists, like these are people who are the world's best, multi-time, gold-winning Olympic medalists. Did you ever notice that even after they have maybe their third gold medal, they still, and their coach has maybe only won one gold medal in their past? You could technically say they know more than their coach at that point, and you could technically say they are the world's best. Why do they keep a coach in their life still? None of them stop having coaches in their life, even on their fourth attempt for the gold medal. They keep a coach in their life, and they'll even keep a coach who only has won one gold medal. Why do they do that? Because even the world's best know what got them there, and they know what's going to keep them there. And so coaching there's no way around it. You need to get yourself a coach.
Makes perfect sense.
And then, that's my one answer. But the other things, I will give something better than that, though, because I know that people are asking, okay, great, go get myself a coach, but hand me some details. What's going to get me to 40 million? So I'll tell you, and I'm biased towards this answer, marketing and sales, right? That's my area of specialty. But the truth is, if you can't make the money appear, you're not getting the 40 million. So you need to figure out how to get there. So either bring someone on who is a specialist in marketing and sales, and have work with them, of course, to get the company there, or learn it yourself. But at that point, if you're at 10 million, the truth is you should have enough money at that point to bring on someone who can help you in that area. If you're a lot smaller, then you're going to have to cut your teeth yourself on some marketing and sales until you can afford a specialist. But also, don't be afraid to get into partnerships and outsourcing. A lot of people are scared to outsource to someone who's going to just handle your PPC, marketing, right? Find someone who kills it at PPC and outsource to them. You don't have to hire them in as an internal, staff member. Just outsource to them. So anyway, dial in your marketing and sales for sure, because you can't get to 40 million without that. And then you're going to have to eventually get diversified, because to get to 40 million, you're probably going to have a marketing budget of like 2 million plus. And so once you're at 40, and so you're going to have to diversify at that point. So whatever has been working up to this point, you can't always just keep adding more money to that same platform. It doesn't work that way. You eventually get a lower ROAS, or return on your money. So you start experimenting and diversifying. And then financial management, in my opinion, is another big one, because to get to 40 million, that's a big game you're playing there. And there's a lot of swings, especially with the seasonal industry.
Yeah.
So 75% of businesses fail in America, and the top cause is cash flow. And I'm telling you, I know so many people's stories in HVAC. A lot of these owners are just former technicians that technically didn't know anything about business development. They just knew how to install a heat pump in a furnace or fix one or whatever. And now they're learning, like, okay, what does it mean to actually run a business and read financial statements and understand projections and such, etc. So you need to get your financial management in place if you want to scale to 40 million, or else you're going to have some kind of crash and burn moment where you run out of cash flow and can't make payroll or something like that. Make sure you have a growth plan. If you don't make a plan for where you're heading, then you could just end up anywhere, right? If you don't know where you're going, you could end up just anywhere. So you got to have a plan, and usually your coach is going to help you with that. Again, your partnerships and your leadership team, trying to get from 10 million to 40 million. Now it's time to start really focusing significantly on delegating and trusting high caliber people, bringing them onto your team and helping them, empowering them to develop a particular department or team at least for you. And then and just a reminder on the partnerships, it is such a good idea to outsource to experts in different areas until you can bring it inside. So again, don't be afraid to do that. And then and one little concept that a coach gave me was, when you're delegating, a lot of people are scared to delegate because they know they can do it better. They feel like they can do it better. A lot of times they can't, but you feel like you can do it better. And so you're scared to delegate because you don't know if they're going to be able to effectively, create the outcomes. But the truth is, you're actually looking for most of the roles in your company. You're only looking for about 80% of the efficacy or excellence level that you were able to bring to the table. So if you can delegate it to someone else and they can deliver about 80% of the outcomes that you were able to, that's actually good enough. And it impacts, because then that once that's off your plate, it enables you to start developing other areas of the company. And then that person, you can incentivize them to get themselves from 80 to 100 or 80 to 95. Nobody's ever at 100, but you know what I mean. So you incentivize them to develop themselves, and of course you work with them on their development, but get them to 80 and then hand it off, and then work with them on developing it farther. But you need to be empowering yourself to focus on other areas of the business, or else you're going to stay. You're going to end up the bottleneck. A lot of times, it's really hard for business owners to not end up the bottleneck because they don't know how to hand off. They're scared to hand off, and they focus on perfection. Like, I want this person to do it exactly how I was doing it, and that's not often the case. And so that one. Another one I'll give you is data analytics. So your decisions are only as good as your data. So if you want to grow to 40 million, you have to have accurate data. It needs to be granular data, meaning it's more specific than just your top line numbers. So you need to start getting good at having each department head or each team lead, report their, whatever it is, their costs, or report their data, their metrics, etc., and analyze it. Have them do self-analysis, you do analysis, take the time to sit down and look at everyone's numbers, or else you have no clue really how. It's like taking the temperature of your business. You have no clue what the temperature is if you're not looking over everyone's data. You're collecting the data, looking it over. Talent acquisition, because a company's only as good as its people, so make sure you have a plan for talent acquisition. Your systems, everyone's heard this. I'm probably not sharing too many new things at this point, but your systems, the truth is a company you can't get to 40 million without falling apart unless you have systems, and because you need everyone rowing in the same direction, and that kind of thing. But yeah, and then a consistent customer experience. When you have that many people, that many customers drawn to you, it's because it's become clear enough to your local market who you are, what to expect from you, and you've nailed down your brand, and you've made it clear to people whether or not you're the Walmart of HVAC, or whether or not you're the Nordstrom of HVAC. Those kind of, whatever your business model ended up being, and there's not a right or wrong one, but you've made that clear, what your brand is, what they can expect of you, and that's consistent as well. You deliver it every time. So that's my answer to your question. I know there's a lot.
Makes perfect sense. That was the best one could answer. So the key takeaways would be to hire a coach, focus on marketing and sales, and actually learning financial management, and obviously delegating the stuff that you actually don't know. Accept that and move on. Delegate that stuff who could actually do it better. So I'll come to the marketing and sales part later on, but I really want to get into the nitty-gritty of running it and actually growing it. So let's start with this. How does your sales process look like? Or better, let me rephrase it. Let's say my residential HVAC company is doing about $1 million in revenue, and we are at a point where I'm looking to hire our first dedicated salesperson and really structure our sales process. What would be your first step would be, and what would the process look like?
Yeah, good. I would first, of course, just align your entire funnel, because you have your buyer's journey is what they call it, right? So you want to just make sure you're looking at all the steps of that funnel and making sure you're imagining from the buyer's standpoint, are they having a consistent experience and a consistent message all the way from the top, the ad that they're seeing on Facebook or on Google, etc., and then all the way to the point of actual fulfillment and the installation, post-installation, etc. But so it does start with marketing in many ways, because that's kind of the introduction to your company and who you are and what they're going to get. Yeah. But then let's just go straight to the actual day of the consultation, because I know a lot of people are looking for that too. And I'll admit I'm going to withhold some of my most precious nuggets, just because I have some non-competes that I have to honor, but I'll still share some really, really helpful things. So the truth is, the greeting, some people skip the greeting. There are very specific things you could do at the greeting or the call when you're on your way, or make the call when you're on your way. By the way, some people don't even do that. Set the window. So your CSRs or your customer service reps should be setting the window and making it clear it's a window of arrival. But then you call and say, "Hey, I'm on my way." I recommend saying, "Hey, could I grab you a cup of coffee or something on the way? It's on us. I have to stop and grab gas anyway." That kind of thing. And so make sure you just give a great impression. They're like, no, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you for offering that. Great. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you. There's something really pleasant and that kind of thing. And then at the door, right, you want to focus on things like where you parked. You want to show that you're very thoughtful, you're very intentional. So the moment they open the door, "Hey, Michael with CM Heating, nice to meet you, thank you for having us. Oh, real quick, am I okay where I parked?" That kind of thing. You just want to show that I'm already thinking about you. I'm already one step ahead on what may or may not be the best fit for you, and I'm asking helpful questions, right? And these aren't ones to get the sale from you. This is I'm just making sure I'm okay where I parked, right? So you just want to kind of keep it light, keep it thoughtful and considerate. So you're setting a great first impression, that's for sure. And then you want to set expectations right away, because I think everyone's seen it where you get up to the house and they open the door. They're like, "Oh, I'll open the garage. The furnace is in the garage," and then they try to just get you over to the furnace and be like, "Oh yeah, I'll definitely take a look at the furnace. I just have a few questions for you. If you don't mind me coming in real quick, would that be okay?" So you want to set the expectations, get in the door, get to the kitchen table and set some expectations for what the consultation is going to be like, and then do a little bit of pre-selling during that, and so you could do some of the assumptive statements just to get a feel and be like, so thank you for giving us this chance to serve you all. We're excited to get your new heat pump, and by the way, we have next day installation, so we're ready to get you going tomorrow. Really excited to see what you end up finding interest in, but I'll create different options for you at the end of our consultation and see which one we're going to get going tomorrow for you. And if they're like, oh no, we won't be ready to go tomorrow. Oh, okay, so sorry, I assumed, what's making you already think that you wouldn't be ready by tomorrow? Well, we're getting multiple bids, and okay, then you start surfacing some of what's going on. We keep it light and casual, but anyway, that's setting all the expectations, pre-closing, those kind of things. You want to do that, and be ready to pivot if the truth is that they just were too assertive and they got you over to the garage assessing the furnace right away. Great. Oh yeah, let me take some measurements here at the furnace. Yeah, I'll gather some data. I do need to get in the house though and look at your thermostat and count the number of registers, and then I have some questions about the house that I'll need to, and your preferences as well. So maybe once we go inside, we'll sit down real quick too and cover that. So just, you got to be willing to dance a little bit and work with folks so that they don't feel too muscled around. Sorry, I'm kind of I'm going through an order, but then I'm diverting a little bit. So, the greeting, setting the expectations, and then you got to have great discovery questions. I learned that in sales at the very beginning of any books I started reading. Your sale is only as good as the questions you're asking, and so create a good list of discovery questions. If you think through the buyer's mindset, if you're not aware of what those discovery questions are, some of them are the obvious things. It's like, okay, so why are we here? And why are we here today? Is this been something that you've been thinking about for a long time? Oh, you have? Okay, but why this year then? Because here we don't, like a lot of people in the Pacific Northwest don't have air conditioning. They don't have any outdoor unit whatsoever. And so sometimes they're shopping for one for the first time. Say, how long have you lived in the house? 7 years. Oh, okay, 7 years. And what's making you want an air conditioner? Well, it's just too hot. Oh, okay, but has it always been that way for 7 years? Like, what's making you want to do it this year? And then you hear something interesting. They're like, oh, well, we just got a great tax return. Or, well, my mother-in-law just moved in with us, and she's in her 80s, and she needs to be comfortable. Gotcha. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. And you keep that in mind later. So you're going to keep coming back to the mother-in-law and be like, yeah, well, I'm excited to, once you're at the closing and you say, here's your options, which one's your mother-in-law going to want? That kind of, you just make a joke about it. Anyway, so you need to get good discovery questions, and then of course great data collection. And you want to flaunt, another little tip I'll give you all, try to get the homeowner to join you while you're collecting all the data, and flaunt what you're doing, explain what you're doing. Like, okay, so I'm gonna measure whatever it is. I'm gonna do I'm forgetting the word. Anyway, a static pressure test. I want to, figure out how much static pressure your system has, or I'm going to measure the ductwork here and find out how much airflow you're allowed. Because I could give you a larger system, but I can't give you a larger system if the airflow won't allow for that. You following me? Make sure they follow. People like being educated. They like feeling informed, and forget that point for a moment. When you're flaunting what you're doing, you're showing your technical competency, you're showing how thorough you're being. So you don't want to just go around, measure, count, tapping on your iPad or whatever you're doing without letting them know what you're doing, because then you're losing a chance to build authority and build credibility in their eyes. So just always flaunt what you're doing, but don't make it look like you're flaunting. You should be like, yeah, so sorry, 1 second, I just need to make sure that your airflow is going to be enough. Like, I'm just, and sound uncertain, sound like, ooh, I need to check this. Let me just make sure it's going to be enough. Yeah, okay, good. You have enough, no problem then. Okay, we're good. Let's move on now. Anyway, so kind of draw them into the problems that you're having to face as a consultant, and that kind of thing. And then you're sizing, designing the system, build the bids on site. Don't do the whole, I'm going to go back to the office and build something for you. I'm telling you, you need to try to close on site, or at least present on site, because even if you don't close it on site, the truth is, if you have bids that you can be presenting to them, you can say, so hey, here's these 3 bids, or here's these 2 bids based on what we already talked about. are you seeing anything else that I should have put together for you? Are there other options that you want to see, or you are going to choose between these two? Oh no, I'm going to choose between those two. Okay, great. And is there one already standing out to you, right? That kind of thing. So let's say you don't get them to close right then and there. You still at least found out whether or not the bids that you're going to email them are even the right ones to be sending to them. So you're still narrowing them down to the actual point of decision. And so there's still so many companies that send the bids later, and I think I know what their angle is, but I don't think it's a good idea. Their angle, well, I'm handing you an angle if you didn't know this, but some people's strategy is to make sure they're the last bid sent. If there's multiple bids that the customer's collecting from competitors, they'll intentionally withhold their bid and give the customer some time to go get those other ones, so that they can say, shoot an email and say, hey, I got your bids ready, when can I give you a quick ring, right? And then you can be the last person on the phone with the customer. And that's a good move, but I don't think you should be doing it that way. There's other ways to make sure you get a conversation with them after they've collected all their bids. So you need to present on site and try to close. But and then, of course, present the unique traits or guarantees of the company. You need to be sharing why they would choose you. Don't just, unless you're the lowest price. If you're in that market, you do volume, you're the Walmart style, that's fine too. Then the lowest price usually attracts the customer well enough. But you still might want to give them some reasons why, like, hey, even though we offer a great price and discount right now, don't question whether or not the quality's there. Let me assure you, and then share with them why you believe they can trust the quality of your company. Present the bids, isolate the barriers, ask for the sale, all the any of the standard sales practices. I'm stating them anyway because plenty of business owners are not former salespeople, and they don't know that the truth is you need to isolate some of those objections or barriers and resolve them. I don't call it overcome them. I call it resolve the objections, because that's what the person's really looking for. They don't want to be overcome. They want to have their concerns resolved by you, and then just ask for the sale. And then if they're like no, and find tactful ways to ask why. Like, no problem. Yeah, I'll email it to you. And while you're emailing, I'll email it to you right now. Yeah, is this the right email address? Great. Okay. And what's making you feel like you got to think about that? And try to disarm them. Close your iPad, close your book or whatever, and stand up, act like you're leaving. Like, yeah, so I sent that off to you, and what is it that's making you feel like you got to leave? And you're like, you're turning to leave yourself, so you're making it feel like, I'm out of here. I'm not getting the sale right now. I'm just asking you one last question as I go. Right? You want to really disarm people as much as possible, and they'll share more information. And they're like, well, we thought it was going to come in a little bit less than that. Oh, okay. Where was it specifically? I'm at 18K right now. Where did you think it was going to land? Oh, we thought it was going to be closer to 16. Got it. Well, that makes sense. And what made you think that? They share why they thought that. Okay. Well, normally, well, how about this? Is there a way that you could install tomorrow? Right. Whatever your deal, whatever your offer is for how you're going to give them a discount. Like, if I could get you to 16, like you were thinking, would you be a yes today? Right? You just kind of isolate the sale. And then if they're like, no, we're still getting other bids. This is just higher than we thought. Okay, got it, whatever. When are you getting that last bid? Friday? Okay, I'll call you Friday. What's a better time? 6, pull out your phone, literally put a reminder in your phone for 6 p.m. Friday, calling them, and do that right in front of them. Because then they know you're serious about your time, for one, and they know you're calling. And they're like, okay, he's calling, so, and say, all right, I'll call you at 6. I'd love to hear what you found out there. By the way, everything we share, we can back up with third-party evidence. So if anybody says anything different than what I said to you today, let me know what that is, because I can show you credible third-party sources that back up all the claims I made today. So I'll show you some of that stuff when I call at 6 on Friday. Okay, great, that kind of thing. Anyway, just you keep it cool, but you establish your authority, and that I have nothing to hide. Full disclosure, that kind of thing. Anyway, sorry, I know I'm taking a long time to answer these questions.
No,
but,
this was pure good. This was pure good. Yeah, interesting. And I'm having a follow-up question on this. Do you have any recommendations for, let's say, a sales resource, how people could, learn more about sales? Do you have any those resources?
Yes. Again, get a coach. If you're just a salesperson, for sure, pay for a coach. It'll help no matter what. We always have blind spots and fears that are getting in the way, and just even poor habits. And you just need somebody asking, like, so why do you do this, or why do you say that? And you're like, I don't know. And they're like, well, why don't you try this? I don't know why I haven't tried that. I'll try that. It's just that's what a coach does, and if you haven't been there, then you won't know until after you have that happening, and you'll see huge growth. But then read books, of course, man. Listen to podcasts like this, or get a good book, but read it like twice, or just don't try to speed through it. Stop and execute on it. Think about this for real quick. Most of what holds people back from excellence is not knowledge. Most of us already know the things we're supposed to be doing in our life. Forget business. If knowledge was all that people needed, everyone would have six packs and be millionaires, because most of us already know what we should be doing with our money. We already know what we should be doing with our bodies. So knowledge isn't the thing in the way. It's the execution, it's the excellence level, it's the mastery level, it's how you can bring yourself from not wanting to do what you should do to the point of doing it rapidly, right? Those kind of things. So it's what I'm getting at is be in action, be in excellence and mastery mode. Don't be in information collection mode. You need to be really, and that's why a coach is so helpful, because they can just tell you honestly whether or not you're actually advancing, or just call your bluff and say, no, this is BS. This is the same stuff you told me last month. You haven't had any improvement, honestly. What are you doing with your time in between our calls? And they'll call you out. And anyway, that's what I would suggest.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
A follow-up question on the last one. Okay, so talking about the sales rep, or let's say comfort advisors, what is your compensation plan for comfort advisors? Is it a tiered commission structure, or maybe 8-12% based on equipment line, or maybe a flat 10%, stuff like that? And do you pay any vacation time, holidays, and if so, which ones and how much? I know I asked a lot of questions, but yeah, please.
Yeah. I think it's a yes to almost everything you said there. So we do 100% commission here. The training period is paid. You get $25 an hour for the training period. I could usually ramp somebody up in about 6 weeks, and that's from having zero HVAC experience. Real quick side note, I only hired experienced salespeople, like career salespeople, and most of the time they had zero HVAC experience, because the core competency in the consultant's role, the core competency is sales, not any technical knowledge. I could teach anybody the technical side, no problem. So I needed somebody who had that core competency of sales. So that's who I looked for: high caliber, high performing salespeople, and I'll teach you the HVAC portion of it. And then I could ramp those people up in about 6 weeks to closing at 50% plus. And we were always 40% higher in price than our comparable competitors, 40% higher in price, but my team was still closing at 50%. And I could get them there in about 6 weeks. That's because I'm already hiring people who are great at sales. I just need to transition them into our industry. But anyway, so 100% commission. They start at 8% in year one, because I'm also trying to build. So the average salesperson, the studies show that the average salesperson stays with the company 2.5 years. That's not long enough for me. If they're a high performer, I want them staying longer. So I try to create a track where they would come in at 8% and they could work their way up to 11% in their third year. So I want that third year, and they'll get 11% in that third year. They still have to meet certain performance benchmarks to enter that, but it was just staying above 40%, because I knew that everyone on my team should and could be above 40% closing, or an average revenue per opportunity. And another little by the way, you all need to be measuring revenue per opportunity with your consultants, not just average ticket or closing, because I had plenty of people who would close at 40%, but their average ticket was killer. And then I had other people who were the opposite, where they could close at 60. I had one guy who was closing at 75%. That's net after cancellations, and then 75%. And that's on marketed leads, by the way. I'm not talking tech flips. So everyone has a different model. Some people's leads are all through the service department and all flips, and that's great. You're going to close those higher. So more power to you. We were mostly marketed leads. It was about 80% marketed leads, only 20% tech flips. So marketed leads are harder to close, because they are actively shopping. They're getting multiple bids for sure, that kind of thing. So anyway, my point is this. Sorry, I jump around a lot. I'm so sorry, but the people who are closing at 40%. but high tickets. Then you have the people who are closing at 60% but lower tickets. But the blended revenue per opportunity from each of them is about the same. And that's a healthy, as long as you know what your revenue per op should be, then you could look at both of them and go, okay, you both are actually performing in really healthy numbers here, because for every opportunity I give you, I get 8,000 back. And every opportunity I give you, I get 8,000 back. Okay, I'm happy, even though you both are producing that differently. I'm not going to try to shape you both into the same profile of salesperson. Don't do that. Empower people to, because remember, I'm pulling people in who are career salespeople. They've been in doing sales. I got one guy on my team. He's been doing it since he was 19, and now he's like 30. I forget what he is, but he's been doing it almost 20 years, right? Sales. He was selling a timeshare when he at 19 years old, right? So these are people who they are already masters of their craft. They've taken this role of sales very seriously long before they met me. So you got to give them the freedom to start shaping their own style. Once you give them the core basics, they need to run the play the way you taught them at first, and then they can start modifying the play. You want to encourage them to do that, because that's going to excite them, and that's going to motivate them to get to see where they can get to, because that's a salesperson's top question is, what am I capable of producing out of my own self? Anyway, 100% commission. We do have a commission ding system, to where if they have certain errors, then we do ding their commission. I put a floor on that, though. They'll never get less than half their commission. I wanted them to have a safety net and know that, hey, no matter what, if I got the sale, I'm walking away with something. I wanted them to have that feeling and that confidence that I am making money, I got the sale. And if they repeatedly have errors that cost the company, well, we have conversations we need to have, and it's going to be a coaching process, or I might have to even write them up if it's continual. And then eventually they might have to exit the company if it was reckless and continuous. But most of the time that wasn't the case. I just had to give them some coaching and say, okay, I'd like to see that, stop, because they're already losing some money with the commission ding process, and then they're being pulled into the office and getting coaching. So a lot of times, most of the time, they would improve that area, and I wouldn't see it happen again. We cover everything: their vehicle, gas, basic tools, electronics, all that's covered by us. They get full benefits as well, so paid vacation, sick leave, holidays, all that stuff. So we were really what we tried to create at CM specifically was a place where people's lives were improved, where they felt like they had a chance at retirement. They could stick and stay with this company for the rest of their life if they wanted to, and they would have a chance at a beautiful, healthy, balanced life and a chance at retirement. That's what we wanted.
Makes perfect sense. A follow-up question on this. You said that you guys were charging comparatively higher than your competitors, right? So how were you able to do that? What was the key behind that? And what's your differentiator that your competitors are, obviously, what's your differentiator that people were actually paying you more than the other competitors out there?
And when everyone hears that we were able to get 40% more than our competitors, they think we made more. Your net isn't usually much better than your competitors. It's just a different business model, because what you end up having to do is make much higher promises to your customers. But when you make really high promises, you end up having high cost of customer satisfaction. So you have better guarantees, longer guarantees, more thorough guarantees that cover more areas of the project, and then when you make those kind of guarantees, well, of course, no matter how good your installers are, the truth is just things happen, and we all know that. So you end up having to fulfill on those promises, and it costs money. But the truth is, if you manage the money carefully, you'll do just fine. But that's the biggest thing. And then reputation management was the first thing we tackled. We made sure that we rapidly ended up the best in the entire area on customer reviews. So we tackled that head on and made sure that within a year of tackling that, we had that 4.9 star average, and nobody else had it in our area. And still everyone else is at like 4.8, 4.7, and then down from there. But still no one has the 4.9 unless they're a brand new company and they have 20 reviews from their relatives. But yeah, that's we're still holding that spot, which is cool.
Makes perfect sense. What's your current net profit margin, and how has it changed from, let's say, $7 million to $40 million? Is there any suggestion on optimizing that?
Yeah, I'd say our average net is 15%, but it depends, different times of the year where
Yep.
there's the shoulder season, might not even break even, but then during the busy season, it's a lot higher. So across the year, we could end up having 15%, right, the net. Because it's a volume game. I think everyone
Yep.
needs to, be clear that that's a volume game on net. Gross margin's not, but net is. And so you need to know your break-even numbers on revenue or just number of jobs if you want to break it out that way, and then price accordingly. Save up for working capital, because that's another big thing. You want the working capital. You don't want to have issues with cash flow. You also want to save up for those. It's okay to spend more money on leads during the shoulder season. It's okay to offer better, have really cheap offerings for a service call, right? Those kind of things, and offer a better one. Be strategic. You offer a better. We did a 15 for 15, which was $15. If you have a system that's 15 years or older, we'll come and do a maintenance on your system for $15, right? We did so a 15 for 15, and we didn't try to hide what was going on there. To older systems, because sometimes customers would call or email or with the technician ask, like, so what's the catch? $15 here, and we just say, well, the truth is most people's systems at 15 years or older have more issues, and so the truth is we fix those problems, or we help them replace their system. So we appreciate the chance to take a look, and we're going to be honest with you. We're going to show you all the data that we collected, show you all the pictures that we took, and you'll know whether or not we're pulling your leg and whether or not there's really something that needs to be fixed or not. So we're not here to trick you, but when it's a roll of the dice on whether or not a 15-year-old system is going to have something that we can help with or not, it's usually that there's something we can help with. So you just give your technicians a way to share, how to diffuse the tension or the questions that the customer is giving you. But anyway, your question was about net profit. I'm so sorry how my brain works in more circular. Everything's in my view of the world is everything's interconnected, significantly interconnected, and to have a very linear hierarchical view of business is not quite how.
This was valuable. No worries about that.
Yeah, good. So save up for working capital. Be frugal, of course. Wait to do your vanity expenses, because a lot of people love rushing into like fully wrapped trucks, like getting their trucks looking gorgeous and fully wrapped and spending all that money, or a fancy building and all this stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that right away. You want to wait till you maybe cross that $20 million mark before you really start making things, have that highest caliber of presentation. But the truth is, people are just your customers are looking for a high caliber experience. And so, getting from 0 to 10 to 20 million, you don't need to have your trucks wrapped fully. Just get a sharp looking logo with the contact info and listing all of your services, and you're good. Trust me, you can make all kinds of money with just a sharp logo and a list of your services and contact info. Use a divisor. Don't use markups. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they're supposed to mark up their costs, their labor or their equipment, and don't do markups. It's going to screw up your numbers. You got to use a divisor, and then have bonuses. You got to incentivize your people towards gross margin, which contributes toward net, of course, but incentivize your people towards the volume. And so make sure you have relevant benchmarks and incentives, like financial. It's usually the most powerful incentive, but award people as well. So each department or each team, give them a relevant benchmark that they truly can control and it's within reach, and give them recognition and bonuses for achieving that. And by the way, do monthly meetings. It's really important. Make sure you're gathering everyone, casting that vision of what's important in this next quarter and the next month, and then recognize the people who are top performers, get them up on stage, cheer them on, compliment them, thank them, make sure everyone feels really appreciated and seen, and you want to demonstrate to the rest of the employees, like, this is what great achievement looks like. Model this person, ask them what they're doing, and interview them on stage, give them the chance to feel like, wow, like, I'm adding value to everybody on my team. Like, they're, the boss is asking me for advice to share with everyone. Like, wow, that's cool. So you just want to be having a cohesive message where everyone's rowing in the same direction. Your structures support volume, your incentives support volume and gross margin, and even how you pivot during the shoulder season versus the busy season, and how you staff up for the busy season. Like, just sit down. I think here's the thing. I do know this. Most business owners feel like they're drowning in things to do. Everything looks like a fire that they have to put out. And so that's never going to end. You're always going to feel like there's fires that you have to put out. New level, new devil. Some people have heard that phrase. That's true. Every level you get to as a company, you have a new problem that you need to solve, and it's important. And so that feeling of having fires you have to put out is not going to go away. So you have to be driving the priorities of what is the next thing you really should be focusing on that day or that quarter. So you need to be sitting down. And again, that's why a coach helps so much. But if you don't have a coach, you at least need to be guiding yourself. Sit down, take that time. Don't let anybody in your office put a sign up that says "Do not disturb" or "You're fired," something like that, and assess and plan and take that full look at your company from a wide point, and then also narrow down into each department, or else good luck. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I would want one thing. I would want everyone to take one thing from this one, that it's okay to break even. On a food in the door offers. It's okay. Don't worry a lot about profits, because eventually, if you're establishing good relationships and if you're giving what they want, you would make that, right? So now, kind of deviating towards marketing. I have a lot of questions regarding marketing. To be honest, I'm kind of biased towards it because I'm all into marketing. But which marketing channel has given you the best ROI, and which one are you currently using that you think you couldn't achieve all this without?
PPC and LSA, for sure. Those two were brought in the bulk. We diversified eventually, like I said, because it's really important to you. You can't drive PPC and LSA to the size that most people want to get to, but they are major contributors for us at least. And I think most markets, the truth is most people do use Google. So, but yeah, get onto Bing as well. Get onto social media. Get onto your different lead gen platforms like Angie's List or Angie, and those kind of places. Of course, do that. But yeah, PPC and LSA, and then it depends on how you view this. But we kind of saw our service department as a lead gen arm of the company. The service department usually only broke even, but that was by design for us. We just wanted it to be a lead gen arm of the department. So yeah, you still got to get those leads out there into the service department. So yeah, PPC, LSA, mailers, all that kind of stuff is really helpful to do to get them into the service department. But what I'm getting at is the department itself made a huge contribution. So don't skimp on creating a system for getting people from that point of a maintenance call, a repair call, to an actual flip, and dial in that process. The flip journey is one that has all kinds of variables. Everyone has different ways of doing it, but regardless of which way you choose, get it established, documented, and so that everyone knows what the play is, and then run it, and then optimize it, and pivot if you find somebody doing it better and you want to try it out. But yeah, do that.
Makes perfect sense. Just want to add one more marketing channel here. If obviously if you're having the budget to it, but anyone watching this, if you can, also try out Google Business Profile and SEO, because lately I'm seeing pretty great results with that. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Coming to another one.
Another thing I should say real quick. Once you're at that 10 plus million level, it is time to start doing commercials. To get to 15, 20 million, it's soon enough you need to be doing commercials, and they don't have to be the highest caliber, but they just need to be memorable. Your message just needs to be clear, who you are, and make sure it stands out. And get brand awareness is a true marketing factor. It's a strategy that does make a huge difference. All the big players out there use it. We know that, and that's why the money is proven. It's tough for business owners to do brand awareness because they don't see the direct dollar for dollar equivalent return. So and a lot of the partners are getting better at showing you that because they have better analytics than they used to have. But the truth is, you just have to trust that the brand awareness works. It just does. To get yourself to 40 million, you're going to have to, outsource, find a great marketing partner who can do great video content design and recording, mastering, and then also someone who's going to manage all of your assets and video content and that whole thing, because yeah, you don't want to have to learn that yourself. We outsourced that to experts, and we're glad we did. And we ended up coming up with really cute, memorable commercials that people talk about to this day. And yeah, anyway, so that's another big one. If you're gonna play with the big kids, then you gotta get commercials and do brand awareness, billboards, etc., all that kind of stuff.
I certainly agree on that. Yeah, in your opinion, which marketing channel you think isn't really worth doing? Could be, it could be offline or maybe online channel.
Yeah, maybe door knocking is probably the one. And I way back when I first started in sales, I did door knocking, and it works for certain industries. And maybe there is a model of door knocking that someone's established that actually is effective. That's great. And if so, yeah, then do that. But I don't think it's that effective. People have become extremely reserved and private now, especially after COVID. People don't like anyone just knocking on their door and trying to talk to them. It's not welcomed. Yeah.
Not talking about referral. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys would be killing at it, because someone at that level, they would be getting really good referral from your existing customers. So how do you get people to refer you more? And is there any secrets or sauce or maybe a sales tactic other than doing a really good job?
Really, the referrals that we got, we focused more on getting the reviews, and the reviews should end up our referrals, really, and because we wanted to make sure we stayed the top performer as far as customer reviews goes. So the script that we hand our service technicians and the automations that are in our CRM, those kind of things are all geared towards reviews, not referrals. But I did have an idea, and I never executed on it, but here it is. And I think on the next, I'm looking to do acquisitions as well, and like I said, consulting. So I know I'll use this in the future. But I really think it would be a smart idea is right after the sale is captured, maybe next day, an email goes out to the customer saying, thank you for choosing CM Heating. We're excited to install your new system. What if you'd like some kind of, I don't know the exact wording, but what the message is going to be is, if you post on social media that you chose CM Heating for your heat pump needs or whatever, and just email us a screen capture as proof of that, we're going to take $200 off your bill, or we'll send you a $200 gift card. I think most people would do that real quick, because they're like, oh, $200, yeah, that sounds good. And man, when you could get, it's all about leverage. Good business practices are about leverage. The most wealthy people out there, from what I understand, they used leverage. And so you gotta, when there's things already happening out there, the person already chose, they already have a network of their own, friends and family who are in this area. And so, and that $200 is worth every penny, because you would have had to spend money on whatever leads come in anyway. So if that person posts and gets a few leads, then it was worth every penny of that. So I feel like that's worth trying 100%. And I'll make sure it happens next time my company I'm working with is ready.
This one's a really smart strategy. And yeah, a follow-up question on your reviews. As I said, I see your main location is having over 5,500 reviews, which is crazy. Give us some tips or strategies, for getting more reviews. For someone who's just getting started, how could they get more reviews?
Yeah, you want to make it a full initiative, like it's a campaign. We're all doing this, and everyone understands that it's a serious matter. The way you do it is you coach your service techs, especially because they're the ones doing more visits than anyone in the company. Of course, you have your comfort advisors, etc. But a lot of it comes from your service department, and so you of course give them excellent training on how to provide impeccable service to the customer, right? Because you got to actually deserve those 5-star reviews. So you want to build the training out and the quality control measures for them to actually deliver impeccable service. And then you're going to give them a script on how to prompt the review from the customer and just say, hey, by the way, and here's another little trick. it'd be a good idea to partner with some kind of local charity or maybe nationwide one, something that definitely has what's the word? Widespread
Mm-hmm.
awareness and widespread what's the word? Safety, meaning like it's not a politically charged charity or a what's the word? A controversial one. So we chose Make-A-Wish Foundation, right? But if there's something even more local that you can do that's local, and you know that most people in the community know about it and love it, then by all means partner with that one. And then you say, and this is a true promise you make, that hey, for every review that we get, the service tech is saying this to the customer. Hey, do you feel like you received a 5-star experience with us today? Yes, I did. Okay, well, that's so good to hear. Thank you for that feedback. I wanted to tell you that for every review that we receive, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, whatever the review is, no matter what, we always make a $5 donation to Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so doesn't matter what you say, but if you do want to take that time, you're going to get an email from us after I leave here within a few hours or so asking how your experience was. If you'd like to take the time to leave that review, of course, we'd love to make that donation. But again, be honest with us. Whatever your honest feedback was is totally welcome. And they're just blown away, like, oh, that's awesome. Wow, okay, great. And so they like that you're welcoming the honest feedback. You're not trying to direct them in any way. And they love that their review is going to cause, they don't have to pay the $5 themselves, but they love that their review is going to cause a contribution to a local charity. And you could generate a lot of great reviews as a result of that. But
this one was a pure goal.
But it's worth every penny. It's worth every penny. Yeah.
You're making, it's my mind is actually blowing every fucking second. This was freaking
nice.
good. Yeah, just in addition to it, I'm starting to use MFC cards lately. It's actually something that's gonna help you generate reviews pretty quickly as well. But yeah, follow-up question on the customer service reviews. How do you handle customer service and complaints and at such scale? Because at the scale you are at, it must be pretty hard. What systems or processes you have implemented? And please walk us through that.
Yeah, similar method where it's a clear initiative across the whole company. Everyone's aware of it and they're empowered and clear guidance. So one, you make it clear to everyone, the moment you are in front of a customer that's unhappy or on the phone with the customer that's unhappy, do not hang up, do not leave the house until they are happy. So don't, because the moment you end the communication, they usually want to rush straight to the Better Business Bureau or Yelp or places where they can punish you online, right, with a bad review. So you want to avoid that, not just because the review and how it's just so hard to reverse bad reviews. You can sometimes recover one and get someone to change it and pull it down, but once it's up, the person usually just leaves it up. Even if you find a way to make them happy again, they often forget to go back and change it. So you want to avoid that at all costs.
Sure.
And then, of course, just the innate value of having a happy customer is worth it too, of course. But so the rule or the principle is do not hang up, do not leave. Your first step that you have, employee or staff member, is you have a $300 allowance. This is anyone in the company. You have a $300 allowance to immediately make the customer happy. If that's, hey, I'm so sorry, we're going to make it right. I'm going to have somebody come out and repair that for free because you already know the repair is under $300. Good. I'm going to have somebody come out and repair that for free. Or you know what? We're so sorry. We're going to put you up in a hotel tonight. We ruined this. We can't get it fixed. Your system's not running. It's going to be 40 degrees tonight, and you won't have heat because of us. We're going to put you up in a hotel tonight, and just stand by. I'm going to get my manager to take care of that. So they can say that immediately because they know they have that $300 allowance to make the customer happy, and that's that. Then there's scripts and templates that we've given them to help them find the wording to how to disarm a customer and promise them right away, oh, we're going to make this right. You don't always promise them what they're asking for, because sometimes what they're asking for is way too expensive or whatever. You're going to buy me a whole new house now, because you ruined their floors or their wall, whatever. So you just say, look, we're going to make it right. I guarantee you we're going to make it right. And so if you know it's going to be over $300, then you get a manager on the phone right away, immediately. You say, hang tight 1 second here, let me get a manager, because they're going to take care of you. And that's that. And then management does take care of them. And again, make sure you have a fund set aside for keeping customers happy. Because if you if you want the benefits of happy customers, like all this great reputation that's out there, you're going to have the money set aside to make sure you can fulfill on that stuff, and that's it. And it's all doable, and that's why you're able to ask for a premium price, because you deliver on it. It's clear to everyone. They're like, yeah, that this company not only has great promises, but they do what they promise, and that's the difference.
That's a really good one. Now deviating towards hiring, what's your secret to hiring and retaining skilled technicians? As I said, it's pretty hard to actually retain really good ones, right? So how do you retain skilled technicians in a really competitive market? Plus, what qualities do you actually look for while hiring?
Yeah, I in our opinion, a good quote unquote technician is worth every penny of what they want. Most of the time, they know what the market is willing to pay them. So you're probably going to have to pay them whatever they want or close to it, and just be aware of what the market is willing to offer them, and be real about that. And they're worth every penny of it. And so it starts in your job post. And I think culture and character is the biggest thing, because here's a distinction in my opinion. Like I was talking about earlier about, knowledge isn't what's in the way. A lot of technicians actually do have the knowledge and know what they should be doing, but they don't have the character to make themselves do the right thing or apply themselves to advance in their technical competency. During their drive, they're listening to more technical podcasts, or they're calling the senior technician and getting advice really often, because they love learning and they love making sure that they got this fixed right, or that they diagnosed it right. And so they're just hungry, right? That type of hunger, it doesn't matter how many years they've been in the industry or how much knowledge they have. If they don't have the hunger and the character of integrity, well then it doesn't matter what their competency is. They're just looking for an easy check. So in our opinion, it was more about culture and character and less about the competency, because we could teach them, just like I did with the sales team. I just need somebody who's great at sales. I'll teach you the rest, no problem. And so we followed that model more so than looking for highly experienced technicians. That if they didn't have good character, we're not interested. And that made it hard, because the truth is, in the labor industry, just the general labor industry, there are a lot of shady characters who really just suck at interpersonal relationships and professional relationships. So they're really hard to work with, and we didn't want that. We wanted people who were great to work with, positive, had character, integrity, hungry for growth and excellence. And they are out there. You just got to be sending the right signals. So it needs to be in literally the heading of your job post. It needs to say, looking for positive, experienced technician, looking for a fun, hungry technician, that kind of thing. And and make sure the pay is the equivalent of what you're looking for. And so make it loud and clear up front, have it spelled out in the actual job post, and just make it clear what you want, and I think you'll attract it. But be willing to let it cost you whatever it's going to cost you. Again, I think there's a theme actually I'm seeing in this whole conversation, is that I feel like a lot of business owners they want a lot of benefits, but without taking the risk, and so they want to be able to get premium pricing, but they don't want to start putting their butt on the line and promising really risky things to promise, right? Or they want the best technicians, but they don't want to pay them for it. And so you got to stop doing that. You're the business owner, and if you want these results, you got to be willing to pay up in that sense, whether it's literal dollars or just put your butt on the line and take some risks, make some promises, and fulfill on it, and drive yourself to that higher level, or stop wishing.
Yeah. Certainly true. Makes perfect sense. Is there any job marketplace or so, from where you actually hire? What's the eventual source of, from the places from where you actually hire techs?
Indeed, we get a lot of our technicians from Indeed, but we also got a lot of installers and technicians from Facebook forums or groups, like HVAC technician groups. So we'd say what we're willing to offer, and see if anyone's out there across the states willing to move for the opportunity. And if they are, we'll do our interviews and do it over Zoom, etc., and then get them over here. So you never know. There's so many people out there who are looking for a change. Maybe they're single, or maybe they're just, even if they have a family, they're willing to up and move. So you never know who's out there, but they are. You just don't be afraid to give it a shot, step out, and get your message out there.
Makes sense. Now coming to the end section of the podcast, for someone who's starting a trade, how could they go from, let's say, $0 to $1 million in an annual revenue as soon as possible? If you would be starting a company, how would you do this? And I know this is kind of a subjective question, would depend a lot on variables, but if you could sum it up, how would you do that?
I guess I would own the infancy. Another sales tactic is to always just own your deficiencies and be upfront about them with the customer, and offer the interpretation that you want them to have of that deficiency. So you hand them the interpretation of it and say, hey, we're new and we're really excited. Here's our values. Here's what we're planning to do for the community. Here's all this and that. And but because we're new here, the advantage to you is that we're going to have great prices. We're a smaller company, mom and pop, and express the story of the underdog. And hey, we're tired of all these big companies that are doing X, Y, and Z, and just go ahead and state what their deficiencies are as big companies, which is usually price and things like that, and say, look, we want it to be a company that's warm and competitive pricing, that for today's customer, who's obviously things are happening in our economy, people need a better deal, and someone who actually is has a heartbeat, and a company that has a face that you can meet the owner themselves or whatever, and that's your story at the beginning. So you just kind of own it, push great deals, because you're going to be able to offer great deals. So just go ahead and lean on that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because you're going to have some. I've met the customers who will never go with a new company, by the way. So everybody thinks that everyone feels like the pie is too small for everyone. It's not too small. There's enough customers who want to go with that small, brand new underdog company, and they want that great deal. They would never pay full price with a big name company. They would just never do it. We don't want them. I don't want them as a lead anyway. And, the companies that I've been with up to this point, I wouldn't want them as a lead. So yeah, go do business with that company, and you're good to go. And then there's the others who would never call that company, because they want companies that have been around a long time, nice and safe. They've owned a house for 30 years, and they've been through the ringer with different contractors, and they want guarantees, they want safety, they want dependability, they want someone to answer the phone the second they call. They want all of that, and they're willing to pay for it, right? So anyway, my point is this: just own the infancy. Go ahead and promote who you are, what you're up to, why it's going to be a benefit to go with you as a brand new company. Like, even say, like, we launched last month, and here's our team, or here I am with my key team member. The reason I chose them, the reason we partnered up, is because we share the same vision, this and that. You're going to find tons of people who are going to love your price and love your story. And then as far as ads go, I think I would go straight to PPC, because you'd be able to get your offers out there. You're going to get in front of people who are actively searching, and I just think it's important to have a controllable marketing platform right away. Get that established, a lever that you can pull, and dial up or down a bit. PPC isn't completely controllable, but going from zero marketing to something, I would go straight to PPC, and go ahead and find a marketing partner. Maybe, again, someone who's in their infancy and they're hungry, they need their first client, and they're willing to give you a great deal. They're willing to give you some kind of guarantee. Like, look, if I can't deliver for you, you get all your money back. I just need you to pay for the ad spend, and I'll skip the setup fee, whatever. You find somebody who's really hungry just like you, and they'll partner with you. But regardless, find a specialist. Don't try to tackle PPC yourself, unless you come from that background. Yeah. And messed around with it. And then, get enough lead flow for your own comfort advisor, because I'm assuming that whoever's starting out is going to be the person doing the estimates themselves. It's going to be too hard to find an estimator who's willing to jump on with you if you're a brand new company. They're going to want to see, if they're experienced, they're going to want to see historical lead flow, and if you can't prove that, then it's going to be you doing the sales. So anyway, but get enough lead flow so that you can, as soon as you can promise a comfort advisor full-time appointments, get them on board so that you can start focusing on other areas of growth. But that would be my suggestion.
Makes sense. So PPC would be the source you would get your first client from, right?
Yep, hands down. Facebook and TikTok too. But, I would get on social and get some kind of ad out there that's lower
Makes
cost and target, of course, target geographically, etc.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. The last question: any advice for new people joining this industry? Any wisdom you want to share?
Man, getting into the industry, I guess do your homework up front. I think if you're just entering business ownership for the first time, get ready for a really tough journey. It's going to hijack your life in many ways, and you need to be ready for that. Your family needs to be ready for that. In the industry itself, like I said earlier, the labor industry has really shady characters in it. Most of them, I'm not saying every single person, of course, but there's a lot of shady characters. So you're going to have to decide up front whether or not you are going to embrace and go ahead and accept that those are the type of people you're going to be hiring and working with. And then you're going to have to build accountability structures in the company that are very tight, and they're going to feel very controlling to everyone, but they're used to that type of atmosphere because that's what ends up happening. Or you decide, like we did, that you're not going to work with those types and you're only going to attract the best. But then you're going to have to, again, make very great promises, high pay, and you're going to have to fulfill on those things. And you're going to have to be a good person yourself. So you can't attract good people if you suck at leadership, suck at confrontation and conflict management, guidance, coaching, those kind of things. If you suck at it, then I don't think you're going to attract those higher caliber people. Higher level relationship people who are polished, professional, mature in the way that they interact, if you're not there yourself. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, look, the people are going to make and break your company, right? You are going to make and break your company, but the people that you start partnering with out the gate, that's what's going to make or break your company. So, of course, have a great business plan. Try to find a business coach, and then after that, decide really carefully who it is you're going to partner with, because it sets the course from there. You're either cleaning up a bunch of other people's messes and your own, and starting out with needless fires that you're putting out, or you're starting out with the best chance you can get at all the mess that's going to be in business ownership and launching a company. But still, you want the right mess, not the wrong mess, to clean up.
Makes sense. And that was so good from your side. That was it from my side. Do you have anything to add here?
No, if anybody has any questions, reach out to me. I'm happy to chat and help out.
Sure. I'll put your Facebook link in the description, and if anyone wanna reach out to you, feel free to. And as I could vouch for you, anyone looking for a coach, consultant, man, actually hit up Michael's messenger. He's there to help you. And yeah, that was it for today. We'll see you on the next one, and till then, bye bye, have a great day, enjoy your life.
Yeah, thanks so much. Nice. Yeah.